Hi, welcome to Gamer Bullshit. This is Jacob, and here with me is Austin, and we're pretty much the podcast talking about gaming and other bullcrap you don't even care about. So what's going on, buddy?
Nothing.
That's it. That's it. Nothing. Just nothing.
Well, I did trade in a game today and got a new one.
Let me guess. You traded in I don't know. Go ahead, tell me.
Yo, mama, that's who I traded in. Mm-hmm.
Boy, I will come over to the house of yours and dunk your head in the toilet. Don't be talking about my mama.
I traded in Mortal Kombat X because not because it's not a good game, it's a great game, but I traded it in because I just don't play it whatsoever, and whenever they come out with new DLC or fatalities for it, like fatality skins and all that, it doesn't entice me to pick it back up and play it. And it's only fun when, like, someone else is there at your house playing it with you and you're kicking each other's asses like Super Smash Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, I don't play this, and I'm not going to be playing it in the future, so I'm sick and tired of looking at it on my shelf, so I'm going to trade it in. So I traded it in to Best Buy and got like $33 for it. And then I proceeded to buy a $20 PSN card to buy Helldivers on my PS4.
Interesting. Indubitably. Yes.
You're so fancy.
Not really. I kind of agree with you. I don't know why I don't want to trade it in right now at the moment, but I definitely agree with you on the fact that, it's just not a game you can really play once you beat the story mode, unless you're just like absolutely obsessed with it.
I was really disappointed with the story because, it was good, but it was short. That's why I was disappointed with it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely really short. I was surprised by how short it was. Like wasn't 9 almost twice the length?
Okay. It wasn't twice the length, unless maybe it took longer time to do. I don't know if it had how many more hours were in it, but I know that in Mortal Kombat 9, it had 20 chapters. And in Mortal Kombat X, there are only like 12. So we're like missing 8 chapters, but I don't know how many more hours those 8 chapters from the previous game added.
Yeah. Huh. Why can't each chapter just be like an hour long?
Because it's a fighting game.
So?
But no, it was it's a great game, and it's probably one of the best fighters you'll play this year, but I just, like I said, I prefer to play with friends.
Yeah.
And since it's so hard to hang out with your friends at our age anyway, it's like, well, shit, when are we actually going to be in the mood to play this, It's not like you guys are at my house every day. It's like, oh, we could do it you know what I mean?
I am at your house every day.
That's awkward.
That is the truth?
Gerald doesn't approve.
Who's Gerald?
My new T-Rex dinosaur figure.
Dang it. Your new T-Rex dinosaur figure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Someone dropped the mic.
I did. Sorry. Sorry
yes,
to all our
I
listeners.
have a new T-Rex figure, and it's a giant green T-Rex, and his name is Gerald, and he's awesome.
He's okay.
No. So, what did you want to talk about today, Jacob?
Well, I'm kind of wanting to get away from video games today and talk about sandwiches.
But the hell's wrong with you? This podcast has been off subject ever since we started.
That's not my fault.
Well, I'm going to tell you about my sandwich later.
You want to talk about sandwiches later?
Yeah.
Well, fine.
Yeah.
What did you want to talk about?
I thought you wanted to talk about best games of this year so far.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Duh. No, pretty much just wanted to get your thoughts on, it doesn't have to be like a whole handful. It could maybe like one or two. Just your top games that you've played so far this year, first half of the year anyway. I've got a couple, and I know you probably got a couple, so, I'll let you say your piece first.
Bloodborne. Blood. Born of blood. Bloodborne!
So Destiny.
No, fuck that game. That game's shit. The Traveler. Fuck the
wait,
Traveler.
That was last year.
Yeah. Anyway, I'd say my best game so far this year is Bloodborne. Reason being, not only did I love like everything about the game, but I just feel like it's a really solid game, and I think it kicks a lot of other games' asses when it comes to gameplay and mechanics. So that's just my opinion. I've played a few others this year, like The Witcher. I haven't played Batman yet. We played Dying Light, but I don't think that's like Game of the Year material. I mean, it's a good game, but like of this year so far, the only one that I would consider Game of the Year so far would be Bloodborne.
Okay, okay. Um, you know, on regards to Bloodborne, I understand everything you say about it. Unfortunately, I think like it probably just goes back into topics what we've talked about before, where it's probably just the difficulty of it alone just deteriorates people from playing it. And I like playing it, but usually only when I have you to play with, just because it's so freaking hard. But I mean, if we were talking about best games of the year so far, I would say mine is probably like a tie between, well, not even necessarily a tie, but it's probably like so close that I can't even determine right now. But it's between Witcher 3 and Batman Arkham Knight. Um, they both play really well. I know you wasn't crazy about the
I I disliked The Witcher 3. I did not get into it at all whatsoever. I tried so hard. I tried like 4 different times. I really did. And one of those times I even restarted the game on a lower difficulty, but I just could not get into it whatsoever, and I was bored.
and I understand that. I actually totally I understand that completely. I kind of felt almost the same way, but like I was just so into the world that it didn't really bother me, and I
See, and that's
honestly
what
need to.
blows my mind is its world didn't entice me at all. Like I wasn't interested in it at all, and I don't know why.
Hmm.
There was nothing like in the world of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Nothing in the game was like, "Oh, look at that hillside over there. I wonder what's over there." Like I never did that. I never and I like open world games and I wonder about that type of stuff, but this game did not do it for me.
Do you think it's just the way it presented itself and how slow it was in the beginning? And
It could be. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think anything was going to get me interested in that game. It was. I think my biggest issue is, and I don't know if this is correct or not, but is it me or does the world of The Witcher seem really political?
oh yeah, totally.
I
That's
think
a
that's a major turnoff for me because I don't give a shit about politics whatsoever because they're stupid. So I think with how political it felt, it just kind of, you know, pushed me away from it. Because
mhm.
it's not stuff I want to get. I don't. The game basically forces you into it, and I don't want to be into that type of stuff.
Well, neither does Geralt.
Well, no, but he's a bitch, so.
I beg to differ, but I mean, like, I don't necessarily like the idea of politics, but I think politics, when played correctly, is very interesting. It can delve into some crazy gameplay features and like relationships that you may not necessarily want to make, but you almost kind of have to make. And I think that's interesting. I mean, that's how the show Game of Thrones is a lot of times. It's all it is schemers, you know,
See, and I don't watch
schemers.
Game of Thrones. I've never seen it. I mean, I've seen a bit of one episode that Greg was watching, but other than that, I mean, I don't care. I don't
I,
even care to ever get into it.
I don't know if you would like it, but I would think you would like it. It's a pretty fun show. But anyway, back to Witcher. You know, like there was just something about that game where it was the first game that it engrossed me. I don't even know how long. So I mean, that's probably
Two
why.
weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I actually need to play it again. Like I just need to go back and play it and do things differently because there's a lot of stuff that I would do differently, from just who I would go with in alliances and other things of that nature, and how I would do missions. Because there's each mission has like even it's like side missions have different outcomes, and it's like there's so much to that game. Like I've beaten the main story, but there's so much more I could do. And then when it comes to Batman Arkham Knight, I think that's the most polished game besides maybe Bloodborne. And
PC gamers wouldn't agree with you about being polished.
PC gamers can, I mean, no offense to PC gamers, but they just need to get off their high horse.
Well, no. Like literally, the game itself was released broken. Is what I'm saying on
I know,
PC, and
I know,
that
but
really sucks for PC
I know,
gamers.
It does suck for PC gamers, you're right. But guess what? I don't own it on PC. I own it on PlayStation 4. And it runs fantastic. It's so smooth. It's so pretty. It's such a engrossing game, like we talked about last week with immersion. And everything just flows really well together. I'm kind of slowly playing New Game Plus right now. And it's just so much more. It's so fun. It's just fun playing through it a second time and with an added difficulty. It's just a really polished game. I would say it's more polished than Witcher 3, but Witcher 3 there's more to do, so it kind of almost makes up for it a little bit, but they're both very
Well,
different
isn't The
kind of
Witcher
games.
3 much bigger as well?
Oh yeah, it's way bigger. Yeah, yeah, but at the same time, different kinds of worlds.
Do you think The Witcher 3 is too big?
You know, I was actually thinking about this the other day. That and Dragon Age. I couldn't get into the new Dragon Age Inquisition just because of how large it was. Don't get me wrong, the story was pretty cool and everything, and the graphics were very impressive and everything. I love games like that. BioWare made it. I love BioWare. I think they make good games despite some of the hate they get. Um, but yeah, Witcher 3 I think might actually be just a little bit too big. I love how big it is. And
Does it seem to suffer from that open world fatigue? Like there's just like I just said, there's too much to do.
yes and no. I think it blurs the line between like a game like Skyrim where there's necessarily not necessarily a main directive, you just kind of do what you want. They definitely take the more narrative approach towards it. Um, but it does almost feel like there's almost too much to do because I mean there's just an ungodly amount of stuff to do in the game, and which is impressive, but at the same time it's like how can you have the attention span to do all of that? There's no way. Like you'd have to know life for like 2 months straight probably to do that. And who has that kind of time, you know? Whereas Batman, I know lifed it, and it's a pretty decent sized open world game that has inside elements as well, and you know, uh, you're able to 100% it. I mean, and it doesn't take near amount the time that The Witcher does. Now there's less content, but at the same time, even though it doesn't have as much content, the stuff that is there presents a fascinating story narrative, and it has clear conciseness of what it wants to do. So right now, I'd say that that The Witcher is slightly not as good as Batman. I just think Batman's the more well polished game. However, Witcher 3 is huge, and it's something to be commended, at least for right now. Maybe later in the year when Fallout 4 comes out, maybe we'll be able to accurately judge it with how big it truly is compared to Fallout. I think that'll be interesting comparison, Fallout 4 to Witcher 3. But, unfortunately, there hasn't been a whole lot of there's been some pretty good games that have come out, but there's only been like a couple of like stellar. And I think that's the three that we've mentioned so far. Dying Light was a fun game, of course, and Mortal Kombat was fun. Um, I just played Lego Jurassic World, and though that's a completely different realm of the video games that we're talking about here, I thought that was a pretty fun game. Was there any other games that have come out this year that were fun, but not necessarily like game of the year material?
Um, I mean, there's been plenty of games that have come out this year. Maybe not big AAA games, but like smaller games. For example, like I just said, I haven't played it yet, but like Helldivers came out in March of this year,
Yeah.
and Magic 2 came out this year. I'm trying to think. Mortal Kombat X came out, but I don't think it's Game of the Year material. I think that's just like best fighting game of the year.
Yeah,
Um,
probably.
I mean, and then you have Ultimate Street Fighter 4 or something. I mean, there's been
Uh,
plenty of games that have come out this year, but I don't think a lot of them are Game of the Year material.
yeah. And of course, you got these remasters, which I don't think remastered should be considered for game of the years. I just
Yeah,
don't.
totally. It just no. I mean, they already got their spotlight last gen. They don't need more spotlight.
Oh yeah, totally. You know, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's kind of crazy though that we've already got three games that are possible game of the year contenders. I don't think that usually happens till what, September, roughly September, October.
I'm thinking. Give me a second.
I mean, there's definitely been instances where games have come out before like holiday season that were like exemplary games and really good and everything. But usually, like they usually come out toward holiday season, so I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I think I would agree with you. Most Game of the Year contenders seem to come out later in the year, like in the fall and maybe winter. No, more like fall. More like fall, I think. But if this year holds true, I mean, we could have. I think we have multiple contenders for a Game of the Year. So far, we have three that, in our opinion,
Yes.
but we still have more to come. Like I'm trying to think right now. We have. I don't think there's much coming out in September Game of the Year material, but you have Fallout 4 and like Star Wars Battlefront coming out in November, and then you have the new Hitman coming out in December.
Hmm.
I mean, those could be possible Game of the Year contenders, especially Fallout 4. Crap. Doom, the new Doom doesn't come out till next year, so you can't count that. I
Sad
mean,
face.
I know, right? Doesn't that game look awesome?
That's a first person I could get into.
Dude, that game looks so okay, not only gruesome but beautiful in graphics.
I love it. I love it. I love it. What? Since we can't think of anything at the top of our heads, what do you think might be a couple of sleeper hits or dark horses?
Hmm. Sleeper hits. For Game of the Year material?
Not even
Or
necessarily
just good games?
like really good games that might surprise you or that could develop into game of the year.
You know, I don't. I want to believe Rainbow Six Siege will be good. I
Yeah.
want to believe, but my problem is we haven't had a good Rainbow Six game in how many years? Like Rainbow
God,
Six
what,
really
10
is
years?
kind of irrelevant now in this day and age. You know what I mean? Like back then, it like that name was something, but now it feels kind of I don't know mediocre, doesn't it?
Almost. I'd say it's been almost 10 years. I mean, really. Um,
I
but
really
I'll,
want to believe that is going to be good because I think the concept is cool because like it's focusing on a concept, right? Kind of
yeah.
like Payday. Payday focused on the concept of heists, right?
Yeah, which is
And
awesome.
robbing and stuff. That's a neat concept, and they made a game about it, and they did their best to give it variety.
Yeah.
And if they could do that with Siege, then I feel like Siege would get a niche audience like Payday did.
Yeah. Of course, the new Metal Gear Solid game's gonna be coming
Oh,
out,
duh,
which
that's a Game of the Year contender right there. I
yeah,
forgot. I
oh
always,
yeah.
I just was like, nothing's coming out September. September 1st, you numbnut.
Uh, and I got a game that I don't know if it'll be Game of the Year contender, but I think it'll definitely be a game that'll probably surprise people and it might even surprise you. Is that Until Dawn game? I actually looked it up, like gameplay of it and everything, and pretty much just like you said, you've told me that it looks like a stupid teenage horror movie,
It
which
does. Like, I think that's what they're trying to go for. I think they're trying to be that dumb, like, late summer teenage horror movie.
it does look like that,
Because
but
that's what it looks like. Like, when I, like, saw, like, trailers or whatever for it, or teasers, I just kind of, like, chuckled in my head. I'm like, wow. Just, wow. Like,
well, I actually was very kind of intrigued because I wanted to learn more about it. And there's actually some leaked, like not even leaked gameplay. It's almost like a demo. I guess it was something they did at E3. And pretty much, I can't remember how many teenagers they said that there are in the game, but pretty much how it is, you get to play as each of the teenagers in this cabin. And pretty much the synopsis is these teenagers went to this cabin and one of their friends went out into the woods and never came back. Well, a year later, they go to the same cabin on the anniversary. Wow, that's smart. And then stuff starts happening. There's a serial killer. Well, pretty much excuse me. You get to
you
play
need
as
some
each.
water.
I wish I had some liquid on me, but I don't, and I don't want to. I can't leave right now. But pretty much you get to play as each of the teenagers, and each teenager has their own like almost kind of like a ripple, and they've got like almost kind of like a butterfly effect going on in the game. There's different and there's teenager has a situation where they have to choose options, either hide, run, or throw something or do something. And what you do will determine what happens to that player or to other players, or it'll eventually.
Oh wait, so there's gonna be like multiple endings?
Yes, like they say you will have to play the game like several times to get like almost any outcome. Like I can't remember how many teenagers they said there are, but I think they said at least 3 or 4, maybe even more times where you might have to play through each gameplay.
Oh,
And they
now see,
say,
that sounds neat.
yeah, and I was actually watching gameplay, and I think if you move the controller, that's how you move the person's head or the direction of the flashlight. So you kind of almost have to move the controller a little bit so you can actually like do something like that. And then the game looks beautiful. I'm telling you, man. Like I think they did motion capture for it, and it looks gorgeous. Like
That
that
comes
might.
out in August, doesn't it? Like at the end of August?
I want to say it does, yes,
I
and,
think it is.
and I'm
I
gonna
mean, I
wait
think
till.
it does.
I mean, I'm definitely intrigued by it. I'm gonna wait till reviews come out, of course, before I make a decision on buying it. But from what I've seen of gameplay, I think it's gonna be a dark horse. It probably won't be Game of the Year contender. They might. Some
No, but
people
it'll
like,
be like a sleeper hit. Like it totally did well.
oh yeah, totally, and I'm okay with that. In these day and age of games where there's a bunch of remasters, I'm up for something different. It's like
Oh my
I
gosh. The eighth generation, the generation of rehashing everything.
yeah, and actually, I'll tell you what I think is definitely a sleeper. Even though it's getting pretty positive buzz, Life is Strange. I started playing that last week, and I've played all 3 episodes that have been released so far. The writing's a little clunky. The lip sync is awful. Um, but the story is really engrossing, and you can change time, and everything you do has consequences. I'll tell you this: the 3rd episode left on a cliffhanger. I was like, "Ah!" and I couldn't do anything about it, And it's a really fun game. It's like the Walking Dead games, that Telltale made, and The Wolf Among Us. It's kind of like that game where it's like your actions have consequences, and I love games like that. It makes it so much more immersive, I guess you could say, not to play on last week's podcast, but it's awesome game. It's got a good mixture. You don't want to say you don't want to do the wrong thing, but there's never a clear cut thing of what you're supposed to do. And I think that could be a game that might be considered for best. Wow.
Best story.
Roughly story or maybe even RPG, because it definitely has RPG elements in it, or maybe even point and click, something like that. I just wish the graphics were a little better. The art style, I mean, is pretty good, and it's kind of, it's kind of cute, and it's got charm to it and everything. But I just wish if the audio was just dubbed better, it would be, I think, a lot better. But I'm actually really intrigued into seeing how well Until Dawn does. Because I'm a big fan of horror when it's done properly, whether it be in video games or film. And I feel at least for
PT, we will miss you so much.
yeah, hopefully that one game that you sent me was
Yeah,
gonna.
someone is making somewhat. It's I think okay. I've heard this from Kotaku that some fans are trying to recreate or not recreate, but create a spiritual successor to PT that plays like PT called Allison Road. And I watched an alpha build of it that was up on YouTube or whatever. And it does. It plays like PT, like you're in a house. You can go outside, though. There's like a little backyard, but other than that, yeah, you're like in this house with a bunch of clues and objects you can pick. It seems like there's an inventory system where you can pick up objects. And there's some creepy lady covered in blood in the house, and it's weird. But I'm hoping that becomes pretty awesome, because if it does, then it'd be great for people to support it.
Oh yeah, I'm just glad horror is kind of getting like a resurgence, like because there's been
Totally. I mean, horror has been missing from gaming for how long?
God,
Like, I mean, it hasn't been missing that long, because if you think about it, Dead Space 1 came out, I think, in like 2008. But I mean, we didn't have like a ton of different options for horror games. And like this generation seems to be trying more to get back into horror. Like, we've had The Evil Within, we had the PT demo, We're getting this Allison Road thing.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. I mean, like, I'm glad to see that genre kind of resurfacing.
It's been missing.
It kind of has been. It's been missing for quite a few years now.
Yeah, because like from what, '07 to really just 2012, 2013. I mean, there was games that had horror elements in it, but not straight up horror. And it's just been mostly shooters and open worlds and stuff. I'm really glad to get claustrophobic, scary, tense games back.
Oh, wait, there's that other game made by the Amnesia developers called, I think, Soma, that's coming to PS4. That's a
Yeah,
horror game.
really.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know if I would be into it because I have Amnesia on the PC and I tried getting into it and I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, you're no PewDiePie.
Whatever. Did you hear he made $7.4 million, I think, last year?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I knew.
crazy.
I knew that,
Crazy.
and I've told you this many times. Oh, for do you want to tell the story about how we were playing PT together and what happened? Since we're talking about horror.
Oh, wait, I think I know what you're talking about. But which scene was it? Which scene is the one? Do you?
When we about pooped.
But I don't remember which scene. Which
I can't remember like what exactly
was it?
scene it was.
Was it the door or was it when
I think it was the door, and we thought we were okay.
when the door was locked and then we couldn't open it?
No, it was the other one.
Okay, now you have to tell because I don't remember what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, pretty much what happened was I can't remember the exact situation. We were playing PT. I was over at Austin's house, and he had downloaded PT. And I wish I had downloaded it to that day because I didn't think they was going to take it down, and now I can't download it now. But we were playing PT, and he was being a wimp, and he couldn't play it. So I decided to play
It
it.
freaked me out, dude. Okay, like jump scares don't bother me so bad. Okay, like Dead Space, I wasn't really bothered whatsoever. I wasn't bothered in Dead Space 2, and Dead Space 3 had no horror at all.
Yeah, that was just
But like
action.
when it deals with psychological horror, it fucks with me so bad. Like it gets me really anxious and bothers me.
Well, I can't remember exactly what happened. I was playing. We were kind of trade off if we were like, I can understand how this happens because it's always better when you're in pairs. And we were still both pretty freaked out though. And I was playing, and I can't remember what happened exactly. I think it was an instance where the radio was telling us look behind us, and we're like, I ain't gonna look behind there. Nothing happened. We're like, okay, we're good. So I walked very closely to the door to get to make it to the next transition. And literally, as soon as we open the door and it closes, and I walk maybe a step, we don't even see her. The woman like just comes hurling out at us, scares us to crap out of us, and like she kills us or whatever. And right as it happens, both me and Austin at the same time jump out of our seats and go, "Oh my god!" Ah!
Yeah, and my dad was upstairs like, "What are those two? What are those two screaming about like girls?"
Yeah, because we went upstairs because we had to take a break for a second.
Oh my
And
gosh, we had to take a breather. Yeah, I remember we were just walking, and then all of a sudden she turned us around and like showed us her ugly face, and then we died, right?
yeah, and it was like right when we transitioned to the next scene, it didn't make any sense with the story. It was just kind of like, "Boom!" It's like, oh my god, leave me alone.
Oh, it was so funny because we were just like, ah! Oh, see, and if they were still making PT, I would totally go halvesies on that game with you, so we both could play it together.
Oh my god, man!
Because I would not. I'm sorry, I would not play that game alone. I couldn't do it. I just
Well,
couldn't.
I don't think it would have been exactly like that. They even said that, but I mean, if it was gonna have the scares like that, oh my god, game over.
Man, that game. Whew. It was awesome though.
Yeah, it was. That's the kind of stuff you like. You like. You can always talk about how some of these games.
You know what freaked
oh,
me out though?
What?
When I was playing by myself is when that ghost lady closed the bathroom door on you. Like when you were about to open it, like her face showed and then it closed again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that freaked me out. And then the fetus in the sink was disgusting.
Yeah, that part was.
That was just fucked up. It was like, it's.
I think that's something that people kind of don't think about is you got all these awesome games. You got, oh, Batman did this. Oh, Witcher did this. Bloodborne did this. It's like, okay, yeah, but horror games, everyone has a different experience with horror games. It's like, especially games like that where it kind of interacts with you, like it does stuff differently. It's like, oh, well, I got this happened to me here. Oh, well, that happened to me here. Remember that one time when we got scared the crap out of when lady just kind of grabbed us? Not everyone can say the same thing. I think that's just something that's been missing in the gaming world with horror, and I'm glad that horror is making a comeback for sure.
In that PT demo, I saw. Remember the part that you said where you're staring at the phone or the radio and it says turn around?
Mm-hmm.
I actually watched someone playing that part, and when it said turn around, they turned around and the lady was right there and killed them.
It's funny. They say she's behind you if you hear like that, oh, like either that or something like that. So never look behind you, or just really don't even look. Then because there's been times when people would like look behind them, and nothing would be there, and then like it'd be like a couple seconds later, and they turn back around, and there she was like, bro, like, oh my god, why'd you do that to me?
She was scary looking too. Like, ugh.
I wish I had downloaded that. I would totally play that tonight in my basement, in my dark room.
No, with your headset on.
With my headset on, and I would use voice commands.
Okay.
Ugh.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
It gets me excited though, because I really want some good horror games.
Well, hopefully, Until Dawn can do that. And if it can't do it, well, then I don't know.
Maybe the Alice Roads or whatever game.
Allison Road?
Yeah.
Or Soma?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by that Allison Road game.
You should also look up Soma.
Okay. I will after the podcast tonight, man. Oh my gosh. We went on a tangent about Game of the Years to horror movie or horror games.
Yeah, that's how it's done, son.
That's right.
So, before we go on to another topic, I got Jersey Mike's sub sandwiches today.
Uh-huh.
I got me a sub from Jersey Mike's for like probably one of the first times ever actually going there and getting it. And oh my gosh, it was so good. Oh my gosh, it was so delicious. I ate that sub and was proud.
You're scaring me right now.
But it was such a good sandwich.
I understand, but I mean, golly, like, did you like jizz a little?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I drooled all over the place.
That's...
I made that counter wet.
What?
You heard me.
You're scaring me, man.
'Cause I am a horror game.
If only you were. Oh my goodness. So, oh, excuse me.
Stop dying on me.
I'm not dying. We're just talking a lot.
Dying on me.
I don't have any hydration.
Gosh, I have a bottle of water. I always make sure I have a bottle of water when I'm talking to you and doing a podcast or a cast pod.
A cast pod.
Yep. I'm cast podding right now.
I'm totally cast podding right now. What's cast podding? It's so you wouldn't understand.
'Cause I'm Batman.
I've been watching those College Humor Batman videos all day today.
Oh no.
Like consistently, just no reason at all. Just keep watching them.
But back to any topics.
You've got it written down over there.
I do, but I have best games this year so far: sandwiches and nonsensical nonsense.
Nonsensical nonsense. I think we've almost covered all of that already.
I think we did cover it all.
Oh, I had something that I was going to ask you, and I totally forgot what it was.
Was it podcast worthy?
I think.
Or did we close it? Or do we shut it down now?
I mean, honestly, I think, it kind of goes in with the game of the year type deal. Well, actually, we already talked about it. Never mind. No. I was just going to ask you what you think the other games for the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah, we already discussed that.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, honestly, the biggest one will be Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you right now, because a lot of people are they've already been comparing it. The biggest contenders this year for Game of the Year are going to be The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt and Fallout 4.
And Batman.
Maybe Batman, but I'm telling you right now, the biggest two are those that I already said. Like,
Oh
I'm,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but so many people were like, after playing The Witcher 3, they're like, well, what's Bethesda gonna do with Fallout now since The Witcher? I'm like, shut up.
Well, I'll just say this: Witcher 3 is a great game, but I'm gonna give. I already think Batman's better than Witcher 3, and that's saying a lot because I adore The Witcher.
Yeah.
So
So,
I mean,
but
like
you're the one who had a nerdgasm last week over Batman.
I did. And
It was
speaking of,
hardcore.
it's right. And just let our viewer or listeners know, I am hoping to be recording and posting a review on our YouTube for Batman Arkham Knight. It won't be top of the notch like IGN or any of them places like that. It'll probably just be me talking. But I'll be going in depth about what I think of the game and everything, and I don't know when I'll have it up. It just depends on how everything comes together and everything. But hopefully I'll have it up by the end of this week. But whenever I do, we'll post it on our Twitter for sure.
And hopefully you'll contain your nerdgasm.
Oh, I will. It'll be really professional. It'll be really professional. Like you'll think I'm from the Matrix and Mr. Anderson.
The Matrix movies.
Classics.
Yes. Which, they're not that old, but still.
Well, the first one's a classic. The other two,
I don't think it was a bad trilogy.
they're mine. The 2 and 3 are kind of like, whatever. They got their moments.
But, yeah, so we'll definitely have to upload that to YouTube and then post it on our Twitter to let everyone know that when it's up.
Heck yeah, totally. I mean, it just depends on how everything with my computer comes out. But as far as I know, that's all the topics we've got for this week. Like we say every week, we're on iTunes, gamer bullshit, but with the I underscored. And we're on Twitter with the same, and YouTube. All our podcasts will be there, and hopefully eventual game reviews and other things of that nature. Got anything to add to that, Austin?
Find us on Twitter!
Yes, please.
And when you do, I don't even care if you call us bitches.
I really don't. I would just like.
I would probably laugh at it, to be honest with you.
Oh, it would entertain me because I'll be honest. We don't hardly post on Twitter. Just not because we don't have a lot of people. We just don't have a lot to say right now because the gaming community is kind of quiet right now. And
usually with the gamer bullshit Twitter, what I do is I make sure people know that we're still around and that we're still alive and breathing, and I give them updates on when we think we're going to do a podcast.
Pretty much.
So that's pretty much how the gamer bullshit Twitter works. It's more of a news update. So
we don't spam.
But if we start bringing more content other than the podcast, of course, we will start uploading more stuff to the Twitter and posting and stuff. But as of right now, our Twitter is mainly posting our podcast and keeping you up to date of when we think a podcast is going to come out each week. Since we don't have a certain day each week it comes out, just because we have differing schedules. So, but we always try to get you guys one podcast each week.
Exactly. And everybody that's listening, we just want to thank you. I mean, it blows my mind that there's actually people that's outside of our friend
I actually
circle
looked
that
at our
listen.
audience. Our estimated audience went up again, and we're at like 51 or 52.
Heck yeah, just keep the numbers up.
And this is our 7th episode, so thanks everyone for listening to us. I really can't believe we have that much of an estimated audience. But hey, I'm not going to complain. I wasn't even complaining when we had like 30. I was like, dude, I'm going to still do this because I enjoy it, and people are actually listening to our dumbasses.
I just have the opinion if one or two people's listening to us, it's not necessarily our friends. I consider that good. Someone's listening to us. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy talking to Austin. I mean, hopefully we can have other people, like other friends or other guests, on the show eventually. But one thing at a time.
Yeah, like I'm trying to. Sorry for prolonging this podcast, everyone, but I really do enjoy doing this podcast. But I'm wondering, like, what else we can do. I'm questioning myself right now, like. What else can we do? Like, do we bring more content, or do we? Well, I feel okay. I don't mind doing more content, but I don't think that's the right move right now. I think right now we need to stay focused on this podcast and probably like bring it up to more like 2015 and make it look nicer. Like we don't have the nicest logo, we don't have the nicest channel on YouTube. Like
our audio's not perfect.
Yeah, I feel like we should, in our intros and endings or outros, whatever, aren't perfect. So I think we really need to work on the quality of our podcast now,
Exactly.
and then think about extra content, because extra content will and can, you know, weaken the quality of our content.
Exactly.
So, but yes, I'll probably discuss that with you, Jacob,
Oh
later.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Totally.
as of
But
right
they
now,
don't.
listeners, I'm we're going to discuss it and hoping that we will do better quality.
That's the hope. We want to bring you all top dollar
Because
for for listening.
we've been doing this for a month now, and we're on our 7th episode, and I'm feeling pretty good about it still. I mean, I know our topics lately have kind of sucked, but don't worry, it's the summer drought. I'm sure it's going to get better.
Oh, for sure. Like once some of these games come out, oh Lord have mercy.
So, like Jacob said, thank you all for listening, and you can find us on Twitter, iTunes, YouTube, and Shout Engine, all at Gamer Bullshit with the I as an underscore. I am out. Jacob's
I'm out as well.